Alright, I had to chime in on this recent story, and this tells about the Andrea Lowe-Garwood killing. And yeah, this happened over the weekend, and what had happened was this was a widow, a widow who was killed in her church in Trelawney, and because what was happening, which took the nation by surprise, and people should not be surprised about this, is just that when she was in church, she had this paid killer took her out during service and took her off, and a lot of stuff has come out, and this is fortunate because right now a lot of suspects are in custody. And the thing about, like I said, we circle back to the fact that Andrea Lowe-Garwood, she had lost her husband. I think was trying to find the husband's name. Sorry, it's not really coming to me. All right, but she had lost her husband, I think, last year in an accident, and this is where it ties into the suspects. Is that apparently the suspects were the family of her late husband. So I'm trying to find the guys. Jeffrey Garwood. All right, and I think there's a story about how he died in a car crash when there's a shootout between some killers and the police. I think that's the story. And what has happened is that her late husband's children, family members, they didn't really get along so well with their stepmom. 'Cause apparently, before his death, that he had bequeathed his assets to her, and his family, I think his family pretty much did not like that. So it's alleged that they hired this paid killer, to take her, because it's been saying that she'd been receiving death threats. I think she's been reported to the police, and yeah, I know a lot of people in JCF when civilians report stuff. Yeah, that's basically in one ear out the other. Yeah, so this was so basically there are a lot of things culminating in her kill. There are a premonition foreshadowing of what would happen to her recently, and so basically it's. I think she even said that she asked the police officer to escort her to his funeral, because again, to her late husband's funeral, because again, her in-laws pretty much were not happy with her getting assets, and which these things, maybe her late husband maybe wasn't such a good parental figure to his family man, to his rest of his family, or maybe he sensed that his family were on some bullshit, and so he said, okay, before I leave this earth, whenever I'm going to bequeath my fortunes to my wife. I think they've been married for over 3 years, so I'm reading. All right, and again, this culminates in what took down, and yeah, Jamaicans here were shocked the fact that, hey, how could such a sick, devilish, barbaric act happen in the house of God? This is where I basically have to kind of get off that bus right here, because this has happened. This is not the first time. Me, we can be disgusted. Me, we can't be surprised that these criminal underworld element operatives have there's no limit to how wicked and depraved that they're going to go. Just remember, Jamaica is a country where people, like I say, kill their spouses, their family members, they kill children, they kill their own parents over bullshit. And yeah, this thing where criminals carry out brazen murder in a church house of God, that's nothing new. Cause there was one of my old churches that I went to several years ago. I wasn't there, fortunately, but there was a Saturday event where some people were playing dominoes, and one of the people that came onto the compounds was pretended to be someone who was just there just have fun, and he was a paid killer who killed someone who was at the church right in front of everyone. And I wasn't even surprised that monster was able to run off the compounds, and apparently hasn't been caught ever since. This is like 2013, and there's even another incident where someone was fleeing to church for refuge from some gunmen, and he mistakenly thought that the gunmen would have just say, "No, we're on holy grounds. Let us not go into the house of God," and say, "Nah, screw this." I mean, that's to them, that's just a building with a big cross on the front. And yeah, they went in and killed the person right in front of the church, in front of the congregants. I don't know if those people have been caught since. But the thing is that we can be disgusted. We unfortunately should not be surprised because Jamaica, decades ago, we decided that we would coexist with the forces of darkness. And I've done recordings where I've said that Jamaica, we made a pact with the devil, or we made a pact that we'd coexist with evil, because we allowed all kinds of wicked demonic spirits to take over the country, and we are just basically whistling Dixie as these demonic spirits are running amok. Because too many Jamaicans like playing that denial game, and yeah, I'm not. This is not really take away from what happened to this unfortunate woman. But the thing about this is that Jamaica, we're still playing whistling in the dark. We're going to be shocked for this for a while. I give us like about a few more days before this stops trending. We'll have this fake outrage, and then the next shocking murder is going to happen. And the thing you have to understand is that the family members or in-laws and that idiot henchman, because basically for was fortunate that he was dumb enough to leave his phone before fleeing the scene, and police, and they have to give him credit as much criticism I have of the JCF in too many cases. They actually did a good job in getting suspects, because this and no, if you think that this whole scenario where family members are taking other family members, do you think that's not nothing new? This is like the Tamara Geddes thing from last year, where she was with her daughter. Some paid killer came, took her out under the guise it was a robbery, but then things came out. It was turned as one of her siblings, I think one of her sisters, planned her killing, and apparently her sister and some other people are in custody as of now. And I hope they get the book thrown at them. So just like with our in-laws right here, I hope if they're guilty of this crime and it's indicated that yeah they are they did do this dirty deed. Yeah, they need to be in a jail cell or under the jail cell, because this woman, no, because the thing to bear in mind is, yeah, people might say we don't know what kind of person she was in real life. We don't know, but the thing about this is just very telling is that whatever issues they had over her getting her late husband's assets. I mean, they should have been mad with her. They're mad with the late husband, not with the stepmother and so on. Regardless of what kind of person she could have been or couldn't have been. Maybe she was a horrible, wicked person though, but the fact that you're brazen enough to kill someone in the house of God. And this has led to something else that I've said before. Jamaica, we can profess that we're a Christian country. We're not a Christian country because we're a nation of churchgoers. Because going to church, that mean, yeah, that's just a social club. That's just an activity too much of us like to do as just to do something on Sunday on the weekend. But in the heart, though, we're not Christians. Because let us put it this way: if we're a general Christian country, even the criminals would know better than to even try that in a house of God, because they know that some of these genuine Christians, were about that life. Let's just say that they would not, yeah, they wouldn't have left in one piece if you even try that, because they know, okay, there's some places that we cannot try it with, because and Politics Watch made a very good point, say like if some of these criminals were to try that in a mosque in like the Middle East, like they tried to shoot someone there, there's just be very the likelihood of those gunmen leaving out those mosques alive after those Muslims who were serious about their faith got a hold of them. Yeah, they're gonna be two killings in that church: the person that the gunman man killed and the gunman themselves. But again, this is something that we have to acknowledge, that Jamaica, we're not a Christian country, because if we weren't, there wouldn't be such a high amount of crime. We wouldn't have so many people that just takes Christianity in particular. There's just nothing more than just a figure of just a symbolic gesture. But I digress to say that though this is a horrible thing what will happen, as I said though. But we've gone way beyond the point where should be surprised at this though, because Jamaica, as I said, we went to the dogs decades ago. We are in a country where we decided that okay, We can be in denial about where Jamaica has fallen, and that has been for decades. And but the thing is that too many Jamaicans have said we're okay with this. I mean, we'll show fake outrage for this woman, and then again, and then next few days it'll be on to the next brazen murder. Because you have to understand, a lot of these killers and these people who hire them, they basically said, no, we don't fear God, because as far as they're concerned, the devil and these demons are a true God. This the spirits of immorality, degeneracy, wickedness, those are a true God. And the thing is, as long as there's not a counterweight, countermeasure to push back those forces, those demons. And yeah, bear in mind, if you did have that, that doesn't mean that Jamaica is going to become like Paradise Island, where there's sin and vices are not going to be are going to be non-existent. But it has gone way beyond the point where things like this should surprise us. I mean, we can be disgusted and horrified, and rightfully so. But bear in mind that this Andrea Lowe-Garwood, the many other people that came before, and other people are going to come after us. That these are these are basically object lessons of how where Jamaica is when it comes to crime. And the thing about it is that Jamaicans, we allowed too many of us in places of power, because yeah, the politicians in both parties are going to have this fake outrage. I mean, yeah, that's fine, whatever. We'll express shock and disgust. I mean, we're not going to implement harsher laws. We're not going to start really going after, start making these, start going after all these criminals wholesale. We're not going to find a way to stop the sale of distribution of these guns. They're illegally coming on the island. Yeah, we'll just, yeah, and even, and I can guarantee, yeah, even though they're going to say that they're going to be security, I mean, chances are those that it's not going to be up to a point where a lot of these killers are not going to be emboldened to keep trying this, because many of them said that, okay, yeah, we understand how Jamaica truly is. We understand that Jamaica, we're permissive towards sinfulness and wickedness, and then we're just, and the thing is that there's not going to be a much of a deterrent forces from things like this happening. And yeah, people might screw say, oh, you're fear mongering, that, oh, that we have to turn to this police state. I didn't necessarily say that. I'm just saying is that we have a culture, we have where we're permissive towards evil. All right, and the fact of the matter is we're in denial about this. All right, we're desensitized, and we're okay with this for the most part. And then when things like this happen, just like that killing of that grand late mother and her two grandchildren last year, yeah, we'll be shocked and super disgusted. And then at the end of the day, is that not much is going to change afterwards, because hey, we're not going to have harsher laws. We're not going to have leaders. We're not going to have a justice system that's going to overhaul and change for the better and start really hunting down and really start putting the fear of God into these criminals and so on. Only good thing I can say is at least the suspects have been caught, netted, and so on. That there was some progress in getting the people who apparently did this into custody. I will give the justice system, but it's only going to go up to far seeing what happens to these suspects. All right, who is going to be charged, really charged? How many years are they going to get? Are any of them going to get really going to get charged? Are they going to walk? Or are these orders basically going to get this joke of a sentence? That is the thing what that needs to happen. That is what will really impress me. Because the thing with Beach is Stout, and after recording about that though, is that, yeah, I will give them credit that they did convict that guy. But there has to be on a consistent basis. But this is what I might have to chime in for the Andrew Lowe-Garwood thing. Like, it's a very sickening, disgusting, and sick thing that happened right there. But end of the day, it's just showing you that Jamaica, we're not a Christian country. We're a country, we're a nation of churchgoers. Because we're a nation of true Christians, we would be taking this as a wake-up call that, okay, we can't bother with the symbolism. We can't be in this denial bullshit. All right, we have to make sure that there are less Andrea Lowe-Garwoods don't going forward. But again, actions speak louder than words. So, anyways, this is for State of Jamaican Caribbean. Check out my YouTube pages. Miles Gussenferin, Miles Productions, and Real Thoughts of Miles. Take care.